This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Je viens de gagner un succès parce que j'ai relancé le jeu.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Il n'y a personne. Je sais pas pourquoi, je me suis dit, ça se trouve, je vais relancer le jeu, il y aura quelqu'un. On va pas se faire avoir par le new content. Hein.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Alors. Les slides sont toujours penchés. La dernière fois, je me demandais si... Est-ce que plus je venais, plus les slides elles étaient penchées. Mais en fait, j'ai l'impression qu'elles sont toujours autant penchées. Le fait est que le jeu garde en mémoire mes précédentes aventures, puisque le new content est là. Qu'on repart pas avec d'abord rien et ensuite new content.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here, no choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Je vais rester en placard à balai pour embêter le narrateur.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything.
Vous voyez, ça
At
l'embête.
least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Elle saoule. J'adore ça.
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Ah oui, je peux même pas sauter.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favourite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
C'est exactement ce que je voulais avoir. The Broom Closet Ending, qui est l'une des
Stanley was
fins.
fat and ugly and really stupid.
Voilà, il est fâché.
He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Là, il est saoulé. Donc effectivement,
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on
il est
right
fâché.
now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard.
Tout à fait.
Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
J'aurais aimé y jouer sans écouteurs, sans casque et tout. Pour voir si quelqu'un serait vraiment revenu quand le narrateur crie. Donc effectivement, il y a une fin qui s'appelle la Broom Closet Ending que tu débloques en restant dans le placard à balai. Que je crois j'ai déjà débloqué, et je pense que c'est le contenu ultra deluxe qui rajoute le moment où le narrateur te dit se moque de toi en disant que t'as débloqué la Broom Closet Ending pour en parler à tes amis. Bon, je crois que c'est bon.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
On avait déjà vu que en bas, il y a la lumière rouge là qui fait flipper. Et si je rentre là-dedans, on avait eu une fin qui était trop bizarre et qui était hyper flippante, où j'étais coincée dans une espèce de boucle temporelle qui s'arrêtait pas.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss,
Oh non, je crois que je l'ai
admitting he had
déclenché
left
du
his
coup.
post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk?
C'est vrai.
All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Ok, moi je déclenchais la fin
Why
du
did
rêve.
doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Allez, voilà, c'est bon.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley.
Indeed.
After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Voilà. C'est the dream ending.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
c'était The Dream Ending.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Ça, c'était The Coward Ending. C'est celle où tu sors pas du bureau.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Dire qu'on peut pas sauter là, c'est frustrant, hein. Oh.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be?
It is.
Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
No.
Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer?
C'est vrai.
How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Sérieusement. Ah, les fenêtres sont là, je suis tombée. C'est... incroyablement drôle. Je peux pas sauter. Je peux aller nulle part. Je peux pas passer entre les deux mots. Come on. J'ai vexé le narrateur.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Je pense que c'était quand même bien plus simple de monter sur ce bureau quand on pouvait sauter. Hein. Ok.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
S'il dit exactement la même chose et que chaque phrase dit exactement la même chose.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
Okay.
There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. Yes. You too will become quite unbearable.
C'est extraordinaire. Vraiment, c'est extraordinaire. C'est vraiment l'un des meilleurs jeux auxquels j'ai joué. Alors qu'il y a juste une musique et une map vide autour de moi. Allez, on y va. Ce qui veut dire que quand tu recommences le jeu, c'est quand même pris en compte. Ok, on a fait les deux options de out of the map. C'était the out of the map ending, je crois. On cherche un ordinateur avec un input. Ah, voilà. Input 1. Ça c'était un truc qui me stressait. Enfin, je sais qu'il y a un truc avec ça. J'avais commencé à chercher. Et je me suis arrêtée à 2 inputs, mais je suis sûre qu'il y a des choses à faire et je suis sûre qu'il y en a plus. Bon, on n'est pas encore parti dans le new content. J'aimerais faire peut-être 1 ou 2 runs avant.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Alors, attendez, je suis désolée, je suis obligée de remapper du coup. Que j'ai perdu mes notes, que quelqu'un me les a volées.
Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Bon, on va pas le vexer une nouvelle fois.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Tac, donc on a déjà essayé d'aller en bas et on sait que descendre les escaliers nous emmène dans une boucle narrative et dans la dream ending. Ok. Ah, je me suis pris la porte dans la tronche, ok. Quelle citation y a-t-il dans les toilettes? To be rich, is it a crime? To commit crimes. Isn't it rich? What a life it would be to have to pick just one. Ça... Il y a un jeu de mots qui est pas facile à traduire. Donc je vous laisse avec ça, voilà. Donc le fait qu'il y a un jeu de mots, que je vous traduirai pas. Bon. J'essaye un truc, hein. J'ai l'air stupide, je sais.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Alors, on a dit boss office. Et avant le boss office, il y a la pièce bizarre avec l'ascenseur.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Je remonte. J'adore les ascenseurs.
Oops, nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me.
Silly me, j'adore.
Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
Oui, Vénus, qu'est-ce qui se passe?
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. what a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
En fait, le problème, c'est que dès qu'on fait pas ce que le narrateur il veut, il se lance dans des monologues.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
J'ai rarement eu un narrateur aussi désagréable, hein. Je dois bien le dire.
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he?
Je remonte.
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
J'aimerais que le jeu ait un narrateur un peu plus agréable avec moi.
Oh my God, it's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this.
Extraordinaire.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait. No, I need more time to process.
Il met vraiment des temps pour processer le fait que je sois bête. C'est hyper désagréable. Et en même temps, c'est hyper drôle. Ah, Vénus, c'est drôle. Vénus trouve ça très drôle.
All right. I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley. Of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
Allez, petite dernière.
You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow? There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises, to have to think and to anticipate, and then to marvel at the eventual reveal? This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years, and it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley, because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why, oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh good, we're here. Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
All eyes on Stanley, live on stage. The storyteller, Stanley reveal all in his new book. Oh non mais c'est vraiment trop marrant.
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door.
Oh. Et je la connais elle. Pourquoi je la connais elle? Stage door. Extraordinaire. Bon ben, allons-y alors. Doing great. A conversation with Alexander the Great.
All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling, and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get them.
Oh, j'ai une chaise avec écrit 427 derrière. Oh, mon livre il s'appelle Up, Up Again, Down Again. Your boss. Thanks. Ah, attendez, c'est incroyable. Thanks for showing me that cool skateboard trick in a parking lot. You're so cool. Good luck on stage. Rock on. Broken like champ. I love the way you ride elevators. No one tells stories the way you do. Go get them, Tiger. Where you came from, you coworkers. Pardon, mais c'est extraordinaire. My true love for you grows every day. You make me feel alive. Your wife from the apartment ending. Je sais pas si vous vous souvenez, mais the wife in the apartment ending is not much alive and is not much a wife. C'est un robot qui n'existe pas. Allez, c'est parti. Oh non, c'est incroyable. Ok, c'est une de mes fins préférées. Did I already say that I love this game? Me too. Oh, c'était génial.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ok, deuxième input, c'est bon. Maintenant, il va falloir qu'on arrive à trouver les autres parce que...
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Bon, c'est fini pour le broom closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Executive bathroom. I've got the feeling money is for stealing, but not yours, of course. Say, that's a lovely purse.
Stepping into his manager's office,
Encore une fois, j'ai
Stanley
raté.
was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human
J'irai la
life.
prochaine fois.
What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible... Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Il a raison, ça fait du bien.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
C'est vrai, hein. Est-ce que je vais avoir la force de voir la vérité en face?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
Vrai.
It was unthinkable.
Wasn't it?
Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
No.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Bon. J'ai appris que les boutons ne servaient à rien, évidemment. Je m'entraîne à passer à travers les portes quand elles se ferment. Parce que c'est ça qu'il faut que je fasse. Ah non, je crois que ça reste ouvert ici. Bon, on a
And
déjà
when at
fait les deux.
last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Ou pas, hein, on peut aussi... Alors, donc là, on a le choix entre yes, no, enfin on et off. Bon, on a déjà eu cette fin. Donc on recommence. Désolée, je vous ferai pas le plaisir de la liberté. Parce que ça a un mauvais goût dans la bouche. Et on se doute que c'est pas la vérité.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
On cherche le troisième ordinateur à qui on doit donner un input.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first,
Bah
just
oui.
to admire it.
Évidemment.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Donc, Là, il y a la maintenance. Et tout droit, il y a l'entrepôt. Désolée, encore une fois, je suis obligée de reprendre mes notes. Entrepôt. Donc, il veut que j'aille dans la maintenance et pas dans l'entrepôt. Tac tac tac, non, nous on veut aller dans l'entrepôt. Hop là.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
J'adore quand il dit ça. C'est vraiment dans mon top des trucs préférés qu'il dit. Genre, je sais pas pourquoi, mais juste, ça me fait trop rire. Donc, on fait attention, car nous avons déjà eu une amende. Alors, si on saute volontairement, on obtient la powerful ending, car on a décidé de notre destin. Mais si on fait ça...
Look, Stanley, I think... But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story
Voilà.
and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Powerful ending, car j'ai le courage de sauter dans le vide.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
En même temps, je sais pas pourquoi
Stanley
je fais ça alors
decided to go
que
to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
on
simply
avait dit
missed
qu'on
a
ferait les
memo.
inputs. Et il n'y a pas d'ordi par là.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Money is in the morning, money in the evening, money for breakfast, money crisp. Alright. Ah, et là. Ah, yes. 3e input. On est bon. On va y arriver.
Okay, I think we all...
Oups. Voilà, voilà. Pardon. J'ai... Bon, alors fait une bêtise, mais... Voilà. Je me suis coincée du mauvais côté. Et maintenant, il y a... Voilà, il n'y a plus rien. Bon ben... Allons voir ailleurs. You broke it. That was kind of my goal. Actually. Hello. Hello. Bon. Qu'ai-je fait? Oh. Let's go. You are now leaving. Alright. So, let's go. Escape pod bay. Quoi? Oh non, mais qu'est-ce que j'ai fait? Mais c'est pas possible. « 157 et c'est encore les mêmes bureaux. Toujours les mêmes bureaux. Chaque étage que je monte. Est-ce que c'est encore une boucle? 158. Oui, c'est toujours les mêmes étages. Bon, ils avaient dit qu'il y avait un truc au 760, donc on y va. Il n'y a plus les lumières rouges. Escape pod lounge bay. Escape. What do I do? Je vois rien du tout. Hein. C'est pour ça que souvent j'y vais en marche arrière. Ah, il y a une porte là-bas qui s'est ouverte. Bon, on y va. Salut Codel, comment ça va? Mais qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Ça va, j'ai raté quoi? Alors, t'as raté quoi? Je suis sortie de la map 2 fois. Je me suis fait gronder par le narrateur 1000 fois. J'ai eu la coward ending, c'est celle où tu fermes la porte et où tu restes dans le bureau pour toujours. J'ai eu la broom closet ending, donc celle où tu restes coincé dans le placard à balai. Là, je cherche les inputs sur les ordinateurs et je viens d'avoir la escape pod ending. Donc du coup, j'ai eu une escape pod. Écoute,
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ah, ça c'est trop bien, je suis très content d'avoir trouvé le troisième input que j'avais beaucoup cherché la dernière fois et que je ne trouvais pas.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ah, il est bien caché le troisième, ouais, on est d'accord. Hein.
Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
J'arrêterai pas, je trouve ça à crever de rire.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Donc on a dit qu'on est... Alors je suis passée par la passerelle, et donc une fois que tu es passé par la passerelle, il y a la porte rouge et la porte bleue.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
J'étais pas sûre si j'avais déjà tout vu, et effectivement,
Because I did. And in the end,
j'ai
it was
découvert
all
qu'il y
for
avait une
nothing,
fin si tu
because
joues
this is what
pendant
you
4
wanted to
heures au jeu
see.
du bébé.
Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
J'ai mis un coup de crayon sur le nez de Vénus. Surprise. Ah, j'arrive quand même là.
I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Oh, of course. A 3. Really? Maybe next time we can get you to form an actual opinion, you know? Any level of critical thinking or engagement with your surroundings? Does that sound good? Think we can do that? Yes? Wonderful.
Je vais aller remplir ma gourde, j'arrive tout de
Based on the
suite.
data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Alors. Ah ouais, donc je suis le dernier en plus. Super. Vraiment super.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to...
Quand j'ai découvert que,
Wait,
effectivement,
Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that
il y
the
avait
orders stopped coming in?
une autre fin
How is that
que tu
possible?
débloques quand tu joues au jeu
They
vidéo
never
pendant
stopped.
4 heures. C'est
Surely I was mistaken.
pas très pro gamer du coup. Eh oh. Je pense pas que ce soit un jeu qui encourage le pro gaming. C'est pas mon ordi. Maintenant, all input. Vénus, t'es assise sur le clavier, ma petite fleur. Heureusement que je peux pas sauter parce que sinon, je ferais pas ça.
No, the orders were still missing. For now.
J'ai fait. Ah. What? Quoi? Je suis... Quoi, je suis au paradis? C'est ça le paradis? C'est un endroit où je peux appuyer sur des boutons pour toujours? Extraordinaire. il existe des speedruns de Stanley. Alors, déjà, je trouve ça extrêmement impressionnant. Mais en plus, ça, quand même, ça implique les 4 heures de. Ah, mais il se rallume après? Ah, c'est extraordinaire. C'est ça le paradis. Eh ben, écoutez, j'aime le paradis. Je vais rester là pour toujours. Vénus, tu fais quoi? Bon. Incroyable d'avoir atteint le paradis.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
C'est vrai.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Allez, c'est parti. Allons voir le new content. Et il va falloir reprendre l'ascenseur là. Bon.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be.
Vrai, hein?
The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Waouh, incroyable.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions?
C'est vrai,
Think
hein?
of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling
Investor
it the Stanley
Showcase.
Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's
vrai.
future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
C'est vrai. Il a raison quand même, hein. C'est vraiment un très bon narrateur. Ça veut dire qu'il y aura des nouveaux bureaux. Ils sont cosy ces nouveaux bureaux, hein. Oh là là. Ah, c'est du beau travail, hein. Oh, they're back. Boring section of the chart, cool red section of the chart. The chart, new hotness. Oh, putain, c'est trop drôle. Oh. C'est vraiment hyper marrant. This is my second cup. Il doit y avoir une table de ping-pong dans la salle de pause. Oh. C'est extraordinaire. The color red. Oh non, la fougère. C'est extraordinaire, vraiment. Oh, j'adore. Genre que le narrateur soit à ce point-là saoulé que...
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
The amount of time they spent to build the facade of a game. Je suis d'accord, c'est brillant. Who took the red marker? Me. Oh, j'adore. Vraiment, c'est extra. Sequels are good. Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman Arkham Asylum 2, Divinity Original Sin 2, Doom 2, Agent 2, Return of Jafar, Dark Souls 2. Du coup, j'ai appris qu'en fait, à la base, ça avait été construit comme un mode de Crab the Ultimate Sequel. Mais quoi? Oui, c'est que du coup, en fait, à la base, c'était un mode de Half-Life 2. You are the sequel. This way to the show floor. Ok. Du coup, je vais évidemment dans l'autre sens, hein, mais... New features. Wow. Je peux m'asseoir? Ah non, d'accord, c'est pas pour moi. Moi, j'ai pas une... Il y a même un bus. New content. Waouh. Eh ben... Ah, heureusement que j'ai pas à faire la queue. Hein. Expo Hall 2. Oh, waouh. Incroyable.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Ok. Oh, mais c'est gigantesque. Jump Circle, Infinity Hall. Feature new content. Please no screenshot. A whole new office. Alors, hear your name in the game. The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. Attendez, parce que moi il y a des petits escaliers, c'est toujours ça qui m'intéresse.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the... well, we'll figure that out later.
C'est vrai, quand t'es en Firewatch de Rocket League, les bureaux bizarres, après c'était les bureaux de la version mode... Ah mais oui, de Half-Life 2, d'accord. Alors attendez...
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
It is.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature.
Okay.
Just play along. I promise
Okay.
you'll love it.
Ok.
Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim. Sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing
Jim.
all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and
Jim.
as Jim, watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply?
Oui.
Are you really, truly Jim right now?
Oui.
If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Ok, je suis prêt. Attendez, d'abord il y a Vénus qui arrive.
Jim.
Yes, you see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again.
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money.
No.
Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Pardon, juste. Quoi? Un petit dernier, allez.
Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Il enlève, il a vraiment enlevé mon bouton. Bon, c'est fini alors. Ah, c'est peut-être ça qui s'est passé. Finalement, personne m'a volé mes notes, c'est juste que Vénus les a fait tomber. Vénus, elles sont où mes dernières notes? Elles sont où mes 5 heures de jeu?
I
Notes.
suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable too. That would
Ouais.
actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Il y a un plan, c'est extraordinaire. This map, free achievement. Setting, quoi? Office decoration, epilogue collectible, infinity hall, exit. Ok. Ah, le jump circle. Bah
You
oui,
know
mais-
what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle?
Oui.
Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative
Oh,
piece
super.
then.
Goodbye, jump circle. Infinite hall. It won't end. Attendez, quoi? Là, il y a une petite porte. Moi, j'adore les petites portes.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Je pense que le bureau, il serait magnifique si tout le monde avait des ballons. Happy 12th birthday, Stepney.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
Ravi d'avoir pu aider.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Il y a du merch incroyable. Ah, on peut pas passer derrière le bureau, donc je pourrais même pas les voir de près. This t-shirt is the best new feature. I saw the new content. Ok, alors je rêve d'avoir ce t-shirt. Je veux le t-shirt noir où il y a écrit I saw the new content. Ah, the button that says James, ça a été renommé. Ok. Alors, free new plus easy achievement. I can't believe it's that simple. Get it here. Let's go. Get yours right now.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's
Okay.
as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Ok, c'est une très bonne idée, hein, vraiment. Même si j'aurais préféré qu'on puisse sauter tout le temps. Enfin, tant pis. Je vais m'en remettre, je pense. J'espère.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Ah, The Infinity Hall. Oh, c'est ça que je veux voir, là. Waouh. C'est vrai, ça a l'air très sérieux. Ça a l'air d'être vraiment du... vraiment des diagrammes et des schémas professionnels. Gravitational Pool of Pepsi, quoi? J'ai pas la ref. Moi, ça me fait penser au... Bon, à toutes les œuvres où il y a un Infinity Hall, mais dans genre Gravity Falls en particulier. Je suis très fan de ce schéma. It just keeps going. Ok, celui-là il est formidable. Celui-là je veux l'acheter. Je veux décorer ma maison avec ça.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever.
Ah
That's
ouais.
right. Infinite falling.
Extraordinaire.
You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Ah, ça me semble être une bonne idée. Enfin, je veux dire, on n'a jamais vu ça dans un jeu vidéo. Oh,
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
PDF lunaire qui avait leaké
Now,
qu'en
I
fait,
don't
il avait
mean
fait un
to be a
redesign
bummer,
sur le logo.
but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
On voit, oh là là, on verra bientôt plus la sortie. Hein.
Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole.
On m'a menti.
Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean.
Moi, j'ai rien dit.
Why
Hein.
don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
J'aime bien. Hein. Bon, allez.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Mostly Infinity Hall. Ok. J'aime son honnêteté intellectuelle. Je pense que c'est une qualité très importante. Et je pense que il a vraiment au moins ça pour lui, c'est-à-dire sa remise en question. That's new. Qu'est-ce qu'on n'a pas vu encore? Collectible? Collect them all. Oh là là!
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
C'est extraordinaire. Pardon, c'est juste, c'est quand même l'un des trucs les plus drôles du monde. Can you find them? Can you find them? Ok, donc il y a des choses à
God, it
collectionner.
really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Alors, qu'est-ce qu'on n'a pas vu? Settings World Champion, The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket, Office Decorations, Epilogue Collectibles, on a vu. Donc il nous faut Office Decoration, on est ici. Attendez, cette carte ne fait pas de sens. Ah, si. Ah oui, d'accord. Ok, c'est bon, j'ai compris la carte. À peu près, je crois. Pas, pas full sûr, mais j'ai à peu près compris la carte. Office Decoration. Ah oui, non, ça c'est bon, on a vu. C'est vrai, pardon, c'était les ballons. Donc, c'est parti. Pour the reassurance bucket.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true.
Il est là,
As
il
long
arrive.
as you hold onto the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
J'ose pas.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Ok. Waouh. Eh ben, je suis très impressionnée. Ok. Bon ben, j'ai un seau alors. Dans le chat, vous avez l'air d'être d'accord que the bucket is great. Just pick it up. Alright.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Jump down to the most infinity hole and see if it teleports back up. Le bucket c'est une masterclass. Alors, ok, let's go to the infinite, mostly infinite hole. Allons-y. Est-ce que c'est pas dans Skyrim que tu peux avoir un infinity jump avec un saut comme ça? Je crois que c'est un bug de saut dans Skyrim. Pourquoi un saut? Je sais pas, je suis perplexe. C'est très drôle, mais...
Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there, goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time?
Oui.
I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before.
C'est vrai, hein?
Admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite.
C'est un peu
Well, I
décevant.
suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do have so much more to show you and to talk about. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow, okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's
Je
length.
suis un peu déçue.
Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the, teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley.
Bye.
I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Ah oui, je comprends mieux pourquoi on peut pas sauter. Donc là, si j'appuie, on se retrouve au paradis, mais on l'a déjà fait, le paradis.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
C'est vrai, perhaps. T'as perdu ton seau, mais je vais le retourner le chercher, t'inquiète pas. J'y vais tout de suite.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Je vais chercher que le seau là. Il y a que ça qui m'intéresse, de toute façon, vous savez bien. Maintenant que j'ai trouvé un item. Seau is bucket, yeah. Seau is a French word for bucket.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Je t'ai envoyé le Gravitational Pool of Pepsi sur Discord. Ah cool, merci.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
C'est parti, on va chercher le seau et on s'en va avec le seau. Si je reste fan de I saw the new content t-shirt.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Allez. Incroyable ce rire.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Je dois avouer quand même que effectivement, il y a quelque chose dans le fait d'avoir ce seau dans les mains.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Du coup, j'ai peut-être pas débloqué out of order. You've been here already, donc tout va bien. Il a pris en compte que j'avais déjà été là. Eh bien, c'est parti. Allons-y.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But all right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Yes. Ready to go with the bucket. Ah.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but
vrai, hein?
I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Ok.
Okay. Are you ready?
Ouais.
Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Oh boy.
Who am I kidding, Stanley?
36
This
sauts, hein.
isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating
jump.
gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own.
No.
They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up.
Like Ultra Deluxe.
All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Ok. Pas mal, hein. C'est parti. C'était beau, hein?
This is the story of a man
C'est le
named
même
Stanley.
jeu! C'est le même
Stanley
jeu, il
worked
m'a
for a
relancé
company
le
in a
même
big
jeu.
building where he was employee number 427.
Il
Employee
est
number
très très beau cet
427's
écran titre, en
job
effet.
was simple. He sat at his desk in room
J'aime beaucoup.
427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders
C'est pas le même jeu, il y a des ballons.
as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley
Arrête.
was happy.
Je suis rentré à un jeu au 2.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would
Marvin,
never
comment ça
quite
va?
forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his
T'as
years
raison,
of
c'est
the
pas le même jeu.
company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
T'as raison, Codel. T'as raison. Il m'a lancé un deuxième. Il m'a lancé un autre jeu. Donc je joue à Stanley Parable 2. C'est génial. Ça va, j'ai chaud. Bah écoute, pour le moment, moi ça va. J'avais pas capté qu'il faisait si chaud. Mais je sens que ça va pas tarder à arriver. Vénus dort évidemment, en plein soleil. Oh, mais il y a des ballons partout. Mais t'as raison.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his
J'aurais
co-workers.
adoré pouvoir prendre les ballons. Et alors, maintenant, moi j'aimerais bien pouvoir récupérer mon bucket, mon seau. Oh, il est là. Évidemment.
Stanley picked up the
Ah
bucket.
bah oui. Je me sens mieux, hein. C'est vrai, c'est fou. C'est vraiment le 2. C'est extraordinaire. Et alors, qu'est-ce que je fais avec mon bucket maintenant?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Bon, bah oui alors. Totally different game, even more than Deluxe. Ok, eh ben. Vous êtes tous convaincus, quoi.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's
Fruits.
warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Who moved my desk? Oh, c'est vrai qu'il y avait quelqu'un qui s'appelait Jim. J'avais oublié.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now.
Arrête.
It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk that it had... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Ok. Non, attendez. Peut-être que maintenant que j'ai un seau, je vais pouvoir me rendre compte que je rêvais pas. Vous en pensez quoi? Oh, une figurine.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
C'est vrai, je me sens mieux. Hein.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fined for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished?
Je suis d'accord avec toi, pour le moment, le 2 est mieux que le 1. Hein.
And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all.
Quoi?
That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him. Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket. Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket. Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
Oh no!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Ok, c'est extraordinaire. Vous aviez raison. L'addition de The Bucket change tout.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Ah, donc je peux pas aller au paradis avec mon seau. C'est bon à savoir. Oh, 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 oh. Attendez, le couloir il est plus petit que d'habitude. D'accord.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
What? Trust the completionist instinct. Weird spinning figurines. Artist rendering. Why floating? The one in cargo room. Ok, d'accord, les gens sont devenus fous avec les statues. Produce one plank to allow hands of access past fence. Actually, some bridge, ok. Inside of sequel exhibit, ok, donc ça je le laisse. Stairs, something to do with stairs, ok. Somewhere both red and blue, ok, donc dans la porte, ok. Nearby a fireplace, peut-être dans le bureau du boss. A private but smelly place for an important person, ça doit être les toilettes. A large room, lots of boxes. There will be a reward for finding them all. Lies. Purée. Screenshot it. Mais non, je vais m'en souvenir, t'inquiète pas. Got a good memory, I guess. Let's go.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Lorraine. You're talking to the pro gamer, of course they would never forget it. Well, quite honestly, I think I've already forget, but it's not that bad. Yes, but bucket. Nope. All right.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
C'est vrai, hein?
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Alright. I'm not alone. I'm with my bucket.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Stanley and the bucket. Vraiment, c'est génial. Qu'on passe de un narrateur, enfin qu'on passe de un personnage principal à deux, c'est brillant.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Aïe, oui, Vénus vient de se prendre le micro là, c'est au-delà de la grincouille, elle a littéralement... elle s'est retournée un peu trop vite et elle a mis sa grosse tête dedans.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
Mon pauvre seau qui a été contrôlé.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never!
Merci.
He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
C'est vrai.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system. When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Oui, c'est très chou. Stanley and the bucket against the world. Allez, libérons les gens, détruisons la centrale.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support.
What?
What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place, not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms, not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room, but at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Quoi? Oh non, mais c'était hyper triste!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Mais bon...
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
On peut pas s'enfuir ensemble.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
C'est vrai, hein? On est bien là-bas.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Nope.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
Pourquoi
The
il
cargo
imite?
lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Pourquoi il imite la voix du... Je comprends plus rien là. Oh. 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 Allons-y. Oh. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Attendez, alors déjà là, on va où? Oh. Hop là. Où est-ce que je suis? On dirait une piscine. Ok. Donc on a découvert un nouveau chemin en prenant la ventilation, c'est parti. Ok. Oh, qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Lost Cat. Oh non, Jean. What's that? Oh. Narrator sound system?
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I
Oh,
don't
il
know
est en train
who
de
might be
devenir
trying
fou.
to get. What's that? Who's there? Camporata.
Quoi? Mais attendez, mais...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Ok.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Ok.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes,
quand même.
Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Je pense qu'on est bien. Je pense qu'on est très bien ici. Peut-être qu'il faudrait qu'on reste là.
Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right, then walking to the lounge, then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired.
Vrai, hein.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness
Stanlerines,
that you get from
Figlies.
seeing a small number in the corner of your screen
Figlies,
go
c'est
up
pas
by
mal, hein?
one? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Ouais. J'aimais beaucoup le Stanlerine, mais le Figley me...
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Bon. Donc en fait, la plupart des fins que j'ai déjà eues, je peux les revoir avec le seau.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around.
C'est génial.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
J'y retourne. Hein.
This was not the
Fixley,
correct
ça
way to
fait
the
nom
meeting
de...
room, but Stanley had felt
de
the
Pug.
bucket
De
calling
quoi
to
Pug?
him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Figlaze. Figlise. Je pense que Stanlerine, c'est quand même vachement mieux.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Ah, de
Now
petits
ride the
chiens.
lift
C'est
all
vrai,
the
je vois
way
ce que
to
tu
the
veux dire.
top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Alors,
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was
est-ce que la
speaking
fin
to
avec
him.
l'appartement qui est
It should
super
have alarmed
triste...
him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him,
C'est vrai.
and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Un transpalette, j'adore. Allez, on y va. Oh, oh.
Now pick up the phone,
Said the bucket.
pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
J'ai pris le téléphone.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Ah. It's me, your bucket. Press C to take me to the world with you.
The Stanley Parable reassurance bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head. Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Je veux pas go back to work, je veux rester heureux toute la vie avec mon bucket. On va regarder la télé, voilà. Car nous sommes amis pour toujours. Je ne veux pas appuyer, car je sais ce qui va se passer et ce sera triste. Faisons-le tout de même.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Don't listen to the loud man, press E for us to go back home. Allez, go.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from, me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket, this stupid hunk of metal. It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it. Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another. Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket? Oh no, I'm having feelings for the bucket. Oh, no. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps, if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing.
No.
Yes, the bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket.
No.
Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley.
No.
I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
J'ai fermé les yeux. Ma bucket. Oh.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
C'est vrai, hein. Meeting today in the meeting room.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
Tout est trop bizarre.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the
J'essaie
top.
de faire,
There's something up there I need you to do.
De partir de
Stanley
la,
did not question why or how this
la
bucket
fin la
was
plus
speaking
loin et
to
de
him.
revenir.
It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk.
It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker?
No.
Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there
Ouais.
isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
Ok.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor.
Ok.
Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm done with the funny.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, You'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence and who very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So
What a
with that
ride.
in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the 2 doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Ok, bon, on y retourne, hein.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now.
C'est vrai, hein.
Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure.
C'était
The bucket spoke to Stanley.
très très
bucket
intéressant
spoke.
quand même.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
Peut-être que c'est ça qu'on devrait faire aussi, hein, c'est distribuer des papiers, des reviews à la fin de nos blagues.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
How many hours of audio recording is this game? I don't know, but a lot.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There was supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the 2 doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my... Here we go. You ready?
Okay.
When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already? No. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already? No. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already? No.
Bon, allez, on change de porte.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at
No,
every one of our
mais
meetings from
non.
now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal, I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Il me reste les portes rouges.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to
Je
the
sais qu'il y a
meeting room.
une Stanlurine là-bas.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose
Le
not to think
narrateur est
about this
incroyable,
obvious
je trouve.
fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Je suis tombée à côté, du coup il était pas choqué.
No, stop. Look there on the wall, you see? There's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here?
Oh.
Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment. Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Ah, évidemment, je me fais avoir comme un bleu.
Item 3. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Ah là là. Pourtant, je pensais que je m'y connaissais, hein, mais... Oh,
Item 4. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket. To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one.
Applause.
Is this a bucket?
Non, c'est toujours un tracteur.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Quoi? Quoi? Quoi?
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
What?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go.
No.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket?
Yep.
Every single thing in the game was a bucket?
Yep.
Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue. But it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what. I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay?
Okay.
And we'll know that it's all a bucket.
Okay.
But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that.
D'accord.
Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Donc,
All of his co-workers were gone.
si je
What
veux...
could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Si je veux obtenir la Stanley qui est avec la porte rouge et bleue, je ne dois pas prendre le seau. Je dois faire une run sans le seau.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nope. Ben oui, mais je le reprendrai après, le
Stanley
emotional
was so
support
bad at
bucket.
following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you forgot. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look,
2v3.
let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Là, on peut y aller, c'est bon.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon,
Non,
you'll
pas
collect the
Figler and
last
Marine.
one,
Non.
and then the first number will
Stanley.
equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then.
C'est vrai.
Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can. Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I want it to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you. What do we want? What are we looking for?
Oh non, c'est la fin qui est horrible.
Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful.
Ah ouais, non,
isn't
je
it?
peux pas.
If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Oh non, je suis désolée, je peux pas refaire cette fin, c'était affreux. Non, vraiment, c'était... Je peux pas. C'était trop dur. Je l'ai fait une fois, et c'était atroce, je peux pas. Ok, donc, on a exploré tous les chemins avec The Bucket. Enfin, tous les chemins de la mauvaise porte. Maintenant, faut qu'on aille dans la maintenance.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again. A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to them, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça?
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Oh oh. Oh oh, il est devenu fou. Oh non, mais on m'avait dit près d'un feu, que près d'un feu il y aurait la dernière Stanley, et là il y a pas de Stanley. Where it is? Gimme the last Stanley.
Stanley. Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Ah oui, comme la dernière fois.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Non, je veux pas donner le saut. I refuse to give up my bucket. That's my bucket, and I love it. Comment ça? Comment ça t'abandonner? Jamais. Ah, bon bah j'ai peut-être pas le choix en fait. Oh non, le bébé. Oh non, le bébé du jeu, interdit. Oh non, ce taille-crayon trop bizarre. Et mon ordinateur. Merci mes amis d'avoir préparé cette intervention avec soin pour moi, pour mon problème de bucket. Bon bah tant pis, il va falloir y aller. Ah, attendez, non, j'ai raté les escaliers. Désolée, c'est une erreur, mais les pro-gamers font aussi parfois des erreurs.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
Non.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does?
Oh,
Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley.
Non.
Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
Non.
Now listen to me. It's
normal.
crucial that you give it the bucket.
Mais non.
I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and... The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spell-binding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
J'aime pas. Je l'aime pas, le Bucket Destroyer.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Ah, the embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Et les lumières sont éteintes là. Oh. Oh 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 oh. Trop bizarre.
Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief in the magic of the bucket.
C'est terrible de se foutre autant de ma gueule, quoi.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Nearby a fireplace, toujours. On va aller voir dans le musée. Je me dis que... Est-ce qu'on peut amener le...
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet
Non, s'il
believes it
restait longtemps, ça
deserves
fait un
the
truc.
bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend.
Lifelong
You
friend.
can't hand it over. Oh no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
J'adore que vraiment le narrateur il s'enlance
Okay,
tout seul.
I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go.
Il a fait un montage. Oh!
There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
C'est mon seau. Désormais.
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see, I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself,
avec tout ce qu'il dit,
it's a
quoi.
bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker. You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
Enfin seul. Enfin seul avec mon seau. And your bucket. Allez, on y va. Ah, incroyable. En plus, maintenant, j'ai des stickers.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Évidemment.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death. It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
C'est un nouveau musée. Ok, c'est extraordinaire. C'est vraiment une exposition sur le seau. Allons voir cette exposition.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
C'est extraordinaire. Tout là-dedans est extraordinaire. Je suis incroyablement fan. No one can control a bucket. Mais enfin... Cave drawing. Évidemment que les sceaux existent depuis plus longtemps que l'humanité. Voilà, cette peinture dépeint comment est-ce que les hommes ont découvert l'utilité du seau. Désolée, c'est à la fois extraordinaire et à la
No
fois, je sais
man
pas.
can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Hanging bucket. Incroyable, incroyable. Je sauterai après, mais il y a encore une partie que j'ai pas vue. The Stress Bucket, une analogie. Ah, présenté sans commentaire, évidemment, donc. Eh ben. C'est vraiment une très très belle exposition. C'était pas ce que j'attendais, mais c'était une très belle exposition. Oh. Oh.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket.
Ah, elle dit
We can
l'inverse.
save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
D'habitude, elle dit l'inverse. D'habitude, elle dit éteignez et coupez le jeu, c'est la seule façon d'être libre. Sinon, vous suivez forcément. Ah, c'est ça! C'est ça! Sinon, elle dit vous suivez forcément l'un des deux, vous suivez l'une des deux voix, et vous êtes obligé soit par l'un, soit par l'autre. Est-ce que ça, parce que ça veut dire le narrateur et le sot? Est-ce que c'est ça? Si c'est pas ça, ça veut dire que j'ai pas compris, mais voilà.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
Oh, maintenant il y a des stickers, c'est trop bien. What was the epiphany? The first time I was inside the museum, the new narrator said, "You to be free, you have to quit the game. You have to go to the main title, and you have to quit because if you not, one of the two will leading your path or will leading your way, and you'll have to follow one ruling between two." And I was suspicious because one is obviously the narrator, the first one, but who is the second voice? Who is the second will to lead my way, I guess? And maybe it's a bucket, so maybe the two opposite voices are the narrator and the bucket? Or if not, I don't know why she said that, but
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
je vais retourner au musée. Let's go back to the museum, because without the bucket, I think there is a fireplace here.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Here's the door, just go. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Mais attendez, mais moi j'ai jamais vu ça. Ah ouais, c'est des screenshots, mais du coup, est-ce que c'est des screenshots de test? Quoi? Eh ben. Oh waouh. Il y avait une autre fin où t'avais un compteur pour le téléphone. Hmm. Escape menu. The... The ending, c'est c'est la fin qui est atroce, où le narrateur il est super content, mais si tu veux vraiment arriver à... Enfin, si tu veux arriver à la fin, t'es pas obligé, hein, mais tu peux recommencer, mais sinon il faut sauter du haut des escaliers plusieurs fois et c'est horrible. Bon. Je pensais qu'il y avait une fireplace là-dedans. Non? Oh, ok, je suis revenue de l'autre côté.
Now look closely, Stanley. See how it's impossible for the player to do anything in this room? Perfect example of poor level design. Textbook mistake.
Purée de patates, ça m'énerve. Là c'est la sortie, mais c'est pas la sortie que je cherche. Non, mais alors je me suis plantée, il n'y avait pas. Donc c'est pas là. Alors où est-ce que ça peut être? Est-ce que c'est dans la confusion ending?
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
Is that Stanley and the narrator?
Perhaps not. Sometimes these
Is
things
that
cannot
the
be
player
seen.
and the narrator? Is that the bucket and the narrator?
But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path.
On va faire ce qu'elle dit. On va faire ce qu'elle dit, on va relancer le jeu. Let's go. Alors, tout à l'heure, j'ai rentré l'heure et il y a eu un message pour dire qu'il était super content parce que personne rentrait jamais l'heure. Du coup, maintenant, j'ai le droit de mettre l'heure que je veux. Ah oui, on peut pas faire 13-12. C'est décevant. Quelle heure j'aime bien? 11h32. Parce que c'est l'heure de manger, tu vois. Genre, qu'est-ce que j'ai mangé ce midi? 11h32, c'est pas mal. Your favorite time of day, tu vois? Non, j'ai pas donné le correct. C'est trop drôle. Ah, le menu du 2, il est génial, hein.
This is the
Allez, on connaît l'histoire, on y retourne. Meeting today pour les Stanley Parable. Donc,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
oh là là, mon beau saut. Est-ce que dans l'appartement, on y était tout à l'heure dans l'appartement, est-ce que dans l'appartement il y a une cheminée ou pas? Je crois pas, je crois qu'il y a une télé, mais je suis pas sûre qu'il y ait une cheminée. On va essayer la confusion ending, donc on prend pas le saut en espérant que on trouve.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
On va faire la apartment ending.
Yes, truly a room worth
Parce
admiring.
que elle
It
est
had really
moins,
been
elle
worth
est
the
moins longue.
detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Ok. Donc, il n'y a pas de cheminée ici.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Je le note. Hop, c'est bon.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
On cherche nearby a fireplace. Hein.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
J'ai recommencé, j'ai plus mes inputs. Ok.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ah bah non, c'est normal, je suis dans la confusion ending, c'est pour ça que j'ai plus mes inputs.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors?
J'ai rien fait.
Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
On y va. Backroom realness là. Oh. Ça m'a pas l'air d'être par là. Hein.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
On n'a toujours pas trouvé la fireplace.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Littéralement en train de faire son job à sa place.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job.
Thanks.
Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart. All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that? You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Ok.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Bon bah on y va hein. Coucou, comment ça va?
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through...
Franchement, faut jamais faire confiance à une ligne jaune.
I can't take this anymore, to hell with it. Restart.
Donc qu'est-ce qu'on fait? On suit la ligne?
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable.
J'ai fait un
Why
peu
don't we
des
simply
choses.
start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Qui est plus que les 3 jours précédents. T'es coincé? T'as des grosses douleurs en ce moment?
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Pas de cerveau et la flemme pour tout sauf lire, je suis dans les dossiers de Dresden en ce moment. Qu'est-ce que c'est les dossiers de Dresden? Oui, Vénus, tout le monde t'entend. Enfin, sinon, moi je t'entends malgré mon casque, donc...
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really... No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it.
J'ai l'air blasé parce que je la connais.
I won't do it.
Je l'ai fait plein de fois cette fin.
And the timer stopped? Does that mean... did we do it? Did we break the cycle?
Fantastique.
Whatever it is
Détective
that
privé
made
à
the
Chicago.
schedule. How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Non. Donc, en fait, je cherche... Je cherche une... Comment ça s'appelle? Une cheminée, a fireplace. Parce que c'est là-bas qu'il y a la dernière des Stanley'ines, c'est-à-dire des figurines en forme de Stanley que l'on collectionne. Ce qui ne nous apportera rien hein, de les collectionner, il n'y aura pas de succès, on sera juste content d'en avoir 6 sur 6. Du coup, je cherche une cheminée. Sauf que je me souviens pas.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Je me souviens pas dans mes précédentes parties, dans mes précédentes runs, s'il y avait déjà... si j'ai vu une fireplace... Ah, attendez une seconde.